Hello, guys. How are y'all doing? Happy Sunday. I'm getting myself together. Getting all set up, so y'all bear with me. Okay. Hey, Mom. I'm getting set up, getting all my devices together. So give me just a second. Hello, Instagram world. How are y'all doing? Instagram, hopefully I've got it kind of like my phone to the side. Guess I really ain't got to do that, huh? I could just stand it straight up. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Y'all probably like, this girl been doing these lives for how long? Sis, can you please get your life together? I struggle like every time. It don't matter how long I've been doing this. Not terrible. Okay. Hey, guys. Okay, I got it going. I'm going to be looking on. Maybe I should just put it over here together. Make it so easy. Girl, that Afraid of the Dark, mama, it took me out. I almost got afraid of the dark. Listening to Sarah's Afraid of the Dark. So it was really good. So anyhow, okay, I think I got myself together. Hey guys, I'm all excited. Okay, so y'all. So today, the topic for today, I don't know if you saw it, but it's forgiveness, the ultimate grace. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So be in prayer for me about this forgiveness, the ultimate grace, and us understanding how it all really works. So I'm going to give us a few seconds to kind of come on in. I shared my post kind of late that, today is Go Live Sunday. So I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to do better and not wait to tell y'all. But I did change my time. So I do them every other Sunday at 4:00. So please feel free to share my live so that other people can watch. I do save them all so people can go back and watch. I know a lot of people actually go back and watch and they don't actually watch it live. So for the lurkers who like to get their life, or if they just don't have time and they want to go back and watch later, I always save it for you guys because this is really like not even about me anyway. It's really about the big God. So anyway, I am super excited to be sharing about forgiveness. And y'all gonna have to like get y'all's life. First of all, before we even start, I'm gonna just have a moment real quick. So now, like, y'all see I'm wearing my God-given hair. This is from the Lord. This is, yes, I'm natural, but I flat ironed my hair this week. I had the pleasure of speaking at the ladies leadership luncheon this week. And so I decided to straighten my hair for the last time before I stopped wearing it for probably the rest of this year. And anyhow, I decided to straighten it. So I'm hoping y'all enjoying this. And then I took it a step further and decided to start wearing lashes, y'all. Like, y'all pray for me because I'm very high maintenance and I have a tough time wearing lashes, like, like putting them on because I don't really be knowing what I'm doing. And so anyway, I decided to go ahead and like start wearing lashes. And now I think I'm about to get like turned out by the lashes. I think they got me set up. I went and bought all kind of pairs. So I've really been living my life. And anyhow, so I'm excited. So y'all gonna have to get into this because I'm liking, this new look. I'm liking it. One other big announcement that I have is I've had people ask me, when is the book coming out? It's on pre-order. The digital copy is on pre-order right now, but the actual book physical copy will be available to you June 14th on Amazon. Amazon, drafttodigital.com, Ingram Spark. You can go to those 3 different locations and order your copy of Purposeful Pain along with the prayer journal that goes along with it. That was co-authored by my beautiful mother, Patsy Jones, who's on my Facebook Live. So June 14th, it'll be available. And the other big thing is the launch party. The launch party for Purposeful Pain will be June 29th at Samstown Casino Ballroom, Room C. Is where it'll be held on on Saturday, June 29th at 5 o'clock. So Saturday, June 29th, 5 o'clock. It's going to be an amazing time. Come out. I'm going to be sharing. I have a lot of surprises for y'all. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, I'm going to come and get my book signed. And yes, boo, you're going to come get your book signed. Yes, boo, you're going to get these pictures. And yes, I will be beat to the gods. But you will also be experiencing a really big moment for me. I'm super excited about it. I've got some big announcements. And so I wanted you all to know about that. So I'll have the event page started as well. So that way everybody can see the event page and get more details on the launch party. But June 29th is our big day. So I am super, super excited to meet my sister wives and my brother husbands. I know I have quite a bit of fans that reach out to me that I haven't met and people that see me. And so I can't wait to hug and love on you. And I'm just excited about what God is doing in this season. Like, he's not playing. He's definitely out here letting me get my life. So I'm excited. So that's it for the announcements. So we're going to jump into Forgiveness, the Ultimate Grace. And hopefully you guys saw my excerpt that I wrote on Forgiveness, the Ultimate Grace. And I must say that forgiveness, the topic of forgiveness is not an easy one. And it's really, really tough to talk about because a lot of times we find that it's hard for us to forgive because to us, we feel like forgiving is like us giving up and almost cowarding sometimes or agreeing with stuff that we really don't agree with. And so sometimes we can find that having to forgive somebody is really, really tough, especially when they have played with you, really offended you, tried your life, should have tried Jesus, but they tried you. And so now you're like, God, I don't really want to get out here and forgive these people. You know, like I don't want to forgive. And so as I began to write this week and thinking about my journey and how I've had to forgive people that probably wasn't even who like really didn't care. You know, most people that offend you, just FYI, they don't care. They don't care at all. You be holding them grudges. They be upset and all this other stuff. And you be thinking they care. Baby, they do not care. They are living their best life, offending you, getting on your nerves, upsetting you. When y'all walk in the room together, y'all both got, they change the temperature as soon as they walk in the room. These people do not care. And so when I started to think about my journey of forgiveness and wholeness and all that it took to get me to this moment, I had to truly start with forgiving. And when I really got to the point where I was going to get serious about my healing and serious about who God had called me to be, I knew that I could not be bitter and better at the same time. And I knew that I couldn't be that all that God had called me to be and still have animosity and hate and, evilness, anger in my heart and still be able to serve God. And so when I started the journey of forgiveness, I had to really start with forgiving me. And I'll tell you, it's hard. It's really, really hard to forgive yourself for the things that you've allowed. We can say that someone did something to us. You offended me or, you hurt me or you put me in a very uncomfortable situation or state. But the real truth is that they didn't. Is it them or was it you? Because people can only do to you what you allow, and I'm not saying that there's not moments where people do some really painful things and you take on baggage that is not yours. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago, even I think maybe our last live with Shauna. And we talked about sometimes we can pick up bags that aren't ours. And unforgiveness is one of those bags that we definitely as people tend to pick up that don't belong to us. And then we find ourselves frustrated with like, why am I even carrying this bag? Like, why am I even, this is not even my size. You open the bag up, them clothes too little, that's not even something you will wear. But you don't realize that the unforgiveness that you've allowed to harvest in your heart and the bitterness that has harvested in your heart, those are all bags that you have picked up along the way that you really had no business picking up because they weren't even yours. And when I started to understand that and think about that, I was like, wait, God, I don't like holding other people's bags. Now, I don't mind you if you want to hold my bag, but I'm not trying to hold your bags. And God was like, well, if you're a type A personality like you say you are, and you like to be in control like you say you do, then you wouldn't want someone to control your emotions. He was like, so the way you get people from controlling your emotions is you cut off their ability to control your emotions. How do they do that? By you forgiving them. You doing what the enemy said you would never do. Forgive. And a lot of times it's things we've said we'll never do. I'll never forgive him for what he did. I'll never forgive her for what she did. I'll never forgive them for what they said. And what we're realizing is that the enemy's like, yes, he glad. He hope you never forgive them. Because if you never forgive them, then that means he will always keep you in bondage to your fears. Your fear of vulnerability. And so if he can keep you fearful and if he can keep you in bondage to the idea of I'm never going to forgive them, then that means you'll never birth purpose because God can't trust you with purpose. There are nations connected to your victory. There are people that are connected to your victory. So if you can't be trusted with yourself, why would he trust you with his babies? I mean, do you trust? A lot of us are mothers. I'm a mother of 2 boys. Baby, my kids can't just go to anybody's house. Like, I mean, I like you, but my kids can't just go to anybody's house. First of all, I don't know what kind of spirits you got over there. I don't know what kind of people you done let off in the house. I don't know who you really are when you at your house and when you in your element. And so my kids can't just go everywhere, and that's how God is about his kids. They can't just go everywhere. He's not just dropping signs and miracles and wonders off to people who don't have the capacity to hold it. God is a forgiving God. He's a God of second chances. However, he is also a father, meaning he is a parent, meaning we are his children. And so even with all that being said, there's a balance. Yeah, I can forgive you. But that doesn't mean I'm about to leave my children with you. And I'm definitely not going to leave my children with somebody who's unstable mentally, who doesn't have the capacity to stay in control of who they are and understand that you are a thermostat, not the thermometer. You have no business checking people's temperature when you should be setting the atmosphere. And either they can put on a jacket or they can take their jacket off. Either way, you're not changing who you are. And that's how forgiveness is. Forgiveness allows you to remain who you are in God. And a lot of times we have a problem with that. And we get so frustrated with God. Well, why do I have to forgive him? Because, it's so easy to stay mad. That's easy to do. It's so easy to stay upset, to stay offended, to not like people, to not speak to people. Like, you ever saw somebody that you didn't like and you was like, I would not want to speak to them. And you did that eye roll? Because I know women, we live for eye roll. I don't know what age we start rolling our eyes and we are taught to roll our eyes. But, we live to roll them eyes, honey. And let you know, we really don't like you. Okay, hey, girl, but I don't really like you. And that's the easy part, is to be sitting there mad, not want to talk to people, looking crazy. But this is the kind of shenanigans God do. He'll go and put your blessing in that mouth of the person that you don't want to speak to. And how else are you going to go get it other than to get in their mouth? Meaning you got to speak to them and they got to open up and they have to say something. And a lot of times that's where he will send us where we don't want to go. There's nobody in the Bible that God sent them somewhere and they was like, yes, that's where I've been dying to go all this time. Nobody. Jonah wasn't trying to go where he had to go. He was like, I'm trying to go this way. The next thing you know, the whale done got him. Now he's stuck sitting in that well. God was like, see, you're going to get tired of playing with me. You know, like there's nowhere in the Bible where someone, God told, hey, we're about to go XYZ, and they was excited, like, yes. You know, because like God never really got off in the Bible. Jesus never said like, hey, we about to go to the Four Seasons. How you feel about that? We about to go to the spa. How you? He ain't doing all that. No, he said, pick up your cross and carry it with me. And you look like, and then he be like, and lead them others over there who can't come. All them cousins you got, they can't all come. And so then he gets you off by yourself, and he takes you to places that you would normally not go, but those are the most blessed places you've ever went to. And so when I thought about my own journey and how I got to be the woman that you get to see now, it was all because God took me to a place I didn't want to go. He took me back to the same brokenness that I did not heal from as a child, let me relive it, and then was like, you ready to come out or no? Are you ready to come out or no? Are you ready to forgive or no? See, it was easy to keep saying, well, you didn't do this and you didn't give me that, and people who are constantly, and I'll say this, people who are constantly putting their emotional responsibility on you are people that really are too afraid to take hold of who God has called them to be. And so they would much rather give you make you accountable for their stuff than to be able to say, you know what, I messed up. You told me that when she texted and said good morning, that she was really trying to test your thermostat and see what you were sitting at. Now she texting other things. But you didn't want to hear that then. See, we don't want to do all that. We'd rather say, well, you wasn't giving me the attention I needed, and that's why I went with this person. No, that ain't why you went with this person. Your selfishness is what drove you to that person. But I am not in charge of carrying your emotional baggage. And when you are unable to forgive people, the lockdown that they're in, now it's transferred to you. And you don't realize it. You taking their sentence. Tag, you're it. They getting out of jail. They gone because they done left, and now you're sitting there serving the rest of the sentence that they should have been serving because you took on the baggage of unforgiveness. You allowed their pain to become your story instead of saying, you know what? Enemy, you don't get this one this time. Because the truth of it, if we really want to get honest about it, is that all of us are one decision away from offending someone. All of us. None of us are so high up and perfect that, that we can't offend. I tell people all the time, I've had people say, well, how did you forgive your ex, for the things that, he's done and is doing and all this kind of stuff. And I said, I can't be controlled. And I mean that in every capacity and facet. I can't be controlled by the enemy. So if I know that getting to the next, you are in the midst of me getting into the next level, then I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do, because unforgiveness keeps you away from building that relationship with God. He can't use you broken. He can't use you dirty. So in order to, because he says that any man that be in Christ is a new creature. Old things are passed away. That means you can't walk around with unforgiveness. If old things are passed away, then I can't still be mad about so-and-so who took my lollipop in 3rd grade. I kind of need to get over that. Okay. I can't be mad that, you walking around with this person. Now I'm mad about it. No, I'm not mad. Matter of fact, I'm glad. Because see, when you deceived me on purpose, you turned right back around and got me off the cross. And when you took me off the cross and you laid me in that borrowed tomb and you thought that I was dead, you didn't realize you had unleashed my power. See, you would have did better leaving me on the cross. Beat down, broken, bloody, and bruised. You'd have done a good job leaving me on that cross. But you didn't. You thought that you wanted to trade places. So here we are. And I could have gotten angry and mad and why did this have to happen? But guess what? If I would not have gone through what I've been through, a lot of you wouldn't be able to grow through what you're going through. You're connected to my victory. See, I get tired of hearing people say to me, Lauren, your story is so many women's stories. You were married for almost 11 years. You had a very public divorce. He publicly walking around with someone else that we know ain't just get here yesterday, right? That's all public knowledge. But look at God's favor. The pain validated who God is in my life. I needed it. I would have never created a platform like this if I didn't have that. God would have never trusted me with his most prized possession, which is you, if I didn't learn how to forgive the parts of me that thought I needed that dysfunction. See, sometimes we think it's about what that person did. And sometimes we think it's about what that person put me through. But see, the good book says it was good that I was afflicted. It was good. So good. See, I wouldn't even be in my prayer closet like I be up in there if I wouldn't have been afflicted. I was listening to a sermon this week, and one of the ministers that I love to listen to said, I think it was either Darius Davis or who's my other favorite? Jamal Bryant. He's definitely one of my other favorites. But he said, it was Jamal. He said, Pastor Jamal, he said, some of you, God has to keep you in a crisis just to keep the relationship going. Because if you weren't in crisis, you wouldn't even fool with God. That part. And you wouldn't even diligently seek him if you weren't always into something needing him to get you out of. And see, I got to a stage in my life where I felt like if it ain't faith, I don't want it. I don't want anything that's not faith. See, it took me leaving my marriage in a season that I was completely uncomfortable in, just to step into a new season where now God is truly manifesting his glory in my life. If you thought that he was manifesting his glory in my life when you saw me 5 years ago, you surely don't know you ain't even seen glory yet. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of man the things that he has in store. So you haven't even seen my best yet. You haven't even seen your best yet. So what do I look like walking around suited and booted when God has given me the victory? Hence the shirt. What my shirt say? My shirt say God is my bounce back. That part. Not a man. A man not my bounce back. So when people are like, why you not that? Baby, that's not no bounce back. The man that God got for me is going to make me excited about my purpose in God. And one of the things I was sharing with a girlfriend earlier today, my manager came in town and we were talking, and I shared with her, I said, I don't want anybody that makes Lauren better. See, Lauren is at her best in God. I want somebody that when I connect to them, it makes me excited about my purpose in God. I don't want to make you better, because I don't want to ever be your God. See, what people fail to realize is there's only one man that can clear your slate clean. Only one. And it's only one kind of blood that can truly wash you and make you whiter than snow. And it ain't me. I can't make you better. See, some people, if you could have made them better, you would have made them better. But they still sick. So I don't want to be with somebody that I make them better. No, I want, when you're connected to me, the better in you is the better purpose of you in God. Not me making you better, because I'm never going to take God's place in your life. And you're never going to take God's place in my life. And so when we got to talking, when Keisha and I got to talking about forgiveness, I was reminded in my book, Purposeful Pain, I talk about I talk about, there's a chapter about forgiveness. And I will never forget the first time I heard Aretha Franklin, Willing to Forgive. It's an old song, and she says, I'm willing to forgive you, but I can't forget because you really, really, really hurt me this time. I know I must go on, but I must admit, I've been really, really, really thinking about gonna mess around sometime. And when I thought about that song, and I thought about the first time I heard that song, I was riding with one of my aunts, and she was singing it. And I mean, she was singing that thing like I knew she was willing to forgive you, but she wasn't gonna forget. And I didn't understand that song then as a young girl, probably about 9 or 10, riding with my auntie. And as I started growing up and getting into a relationship and going through and growing through, that song meant so much more to me. Baby, if you made me mad, I would sing that song to the rooftop. I'm willing to forgive you, but I can't forget because you really hurt me this time. And what really resonated to me with that song was vulnerability first. This is a woman saying, you hurt me this time. That this time that you played with me really hurt me because I thought that last time when you said I was sorry and I wasn't going to do it again, that you meant it. But see, what I didn't understand was that when someone says they're sorry, that means they're not going to change. That means we're going to be here a while. Just think about it. When you come into a restaurant and they say, I'm sorry, the wait is an hour and a half. I'm sorry, you're going to be here a while. I'm sorry. Meaning, I can't change what's about to happen to you, baby. You gonna just be here a while. I feel bad on the inside about what's going on, but it ain't about to change. So I'm sorry. That mean that cycle gonna be a little while longer. I'm sorry. I don't want your sorry. I want your apology, meaning there's gonna be some change. I apologize, right? That's what Anita Baker say. I apologize. My honest and true, I apologize. I know I was wrong. So I sing you this song and I'm gonna get through to make it up to you. Meaning I want to put some action behind that thing. I don't want to just tell you I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was over there texting so-and-so, but just give me a couple more months of texting her. Then I'm going to change that part. I'm sorry that I stood in your face and I lied to you when you know the truth. My mama used to say all the time, you lie when the truth sound better. And I heard Pastor Jamal say some people lied to you when they didn't realize that you would have just forgave them for being honest. I'd have just forgave you if you was honest. You didn't have to lie to my face. I would have forgave you just for you authentically bringing me who you weren't pretending to be anymore. It wasn't about what you did. It was about what you couldn't stop being. But what we do, we walk around with that offense on us. And see, for me, I couldn't stay offended at you. Because I needed to turn the tables. And God said, you turn the tables by doing and going places that most people aren't willing to go. And you do things that most people aren't willing to do. And then you live out loud because transparency makes you free. Liberty, right? God says the man that I set free is free indeed. Meaning you can't lock me up again. Double jeopardy. You can't lock me up again for the same crime. I'm already free. I'm already free. And so what I had to do was first forgive me. Forgive me for not understanding that some of that stuff that I had to go through was because I made a dysfunctional thing functional again. See, I knew what it was like to live that type of lifestyle. Let's just get real for the life, right? I already grew up seeing infidelity. I was quite familiar with that. I was familiar with the grief. I was familiar with seeing women in my life deal with broken marriages, deal with abusive marriages, deal with infidelity marriages, deal with disrespectful men. See, that was a norm for me. You doing that? Oh, that's my norm. If I can't live nowhere else, I can live in dysfunction. I can live in disrespect. I can live in checking your phone. I can live in tapping your phone. How about that part? I can live in smelling your cologne and knowing that just ain't just your fragrance that you're wearing. See, that I lived in. But God said, oh, no, sis, not this time. You're going to become something that the nation has never seen. To go back and heal those that didn't even realize they were cut on. They were bruised. They didn't even know, because dysfunction was all they ever knew. It's just like somebody coming in and speaking French. If we've never heard it and we've only learned English, we're like, well, what's this that they talking about? What's this foreign thing that they talking about? What you mean I can be with somebody that loves and respects me? I ain't never seen it. Not from a black man, if we're going to keep it 100. Not from now. And it's not that they don't have them. I just haven't seen it. But the truth was, I was never going to see it because I was looking out of the eyes of unforgiveness and offense. See, some of us want to see something with the same glasses. Baby, them glasses are still dirty. You're going to see that same dirt that you've been seeing until you take them glasses off, clean them off, look through them again, make sure they ain't got any glare on it, wipe it again off on your shirt, and then put it on. You will always continue to see what you haven't healed from. You will always easily get offended again. And that's what the enemy's banking on. He's banking on pissing you off in the same arena so you can go do the same actions that you always do when you get mad. You get quiet. See, I used to do that. I lived for the silent treatment, baby. Lived for the silent treatment. And I lived to let you know that as long as my lips are closed, you will never know how to attack me. I allowed my lover to become my enemy. He didn't even know. He just thought, well, she's just a little mad. She gonna, but she done dealt with this before. So she gonna be all right. How many times we do that? We roll the dice thinking they gonna be all right. Lauren used to dysfunction. Look at her parents. She used to dysfunction. She used to being publicly humiliated. She used to serving God and bleeding. She used to walking around smiling but crying on the inside. She's seen her mother do it. So clearly she know what it looked like. I don't have to teach her how to live with dysfunction. That's what the enemy banks on. Is that you're going to always live with dysfunction. But he never banks on, what if you're like the woman with the issue of blood that just knows if I touch the hem of his garment, I'm going to be made whole. You think about that woman at that point. This woman had been ill for a very long time. There was no signs of a promise coming to heal her. But she heard about a man. And she didn't care what the people thought when she came out there in desperation for him. See, that's what pain will do. It will send you into desperation for him. You gonna get in, baby, you will come out bloody, black eye, gouged out eyes, clothes ripped, hair all over your head, no lashes on. You will come out naked when you are in desperation for him. And some of us, he got to whip us so bad because there ain't no other way we're going to come out desperate for him. If we keep blessing us, we ain't coming. We ain't thinking about coming. We ain't thinking about talking to him. We're not thinking about no relationship with him. As long as the goose is cooking good for us, we're not worried about God. But you think about that woman with the issue of blood who said, come what may, I'm coming out. And in the crowds of people that were there, she touched the hem of of Jesus's garment. He said, someone touched me. It was her faith that touched him, not her hands. That wasn't what healed her. It was her faith. It was her faith that set her apart, that said, for God I live, for God I die. It was her faith that said, I done been through too much. I'm not staying this way. I done been broken. I done been told that I was going to get healed and then the healing never came. I done been told that just take this medicine and this going to take place. I done been told all those things. I got to go and do something desperate. I got to go do something desperate for God. And so she goes and she touches him on purpose, fights her way through a crowd to get to him. And she's healed right then and there. That's how unforgiveness can be healed off of you. I remember the morning God healed me of unforgiveness. See, God made me whole on my birthday, which was March 13th. But God released unforgiveness off of my body. It was almost like an out-of-body experience. It was end of March, before I went into the 4th month of April. And I was up praying, and I hadn't gotten out of the bed. And I was sitting there praying, laying there praying, and I felt me rise up off of me. I don't know how else to put into words. And I felt God say, I heard him say, you will never walk in unforgiveness again. I went to my closet and I began to pray. I prayed for those that despitefully used me. I called their names out before God. That God would not only would he do for them what he did for me, but that he would exceed it for them, my enemies. I'm not talking about my homegirls. I'm not talking about these sister wives that support me. I'm talking about the betrayed on person. The one that sat across my table like Judas sat across from Jesus knowing that he was going to betray him. I'm talking about that one. I'm talking about the one that walks around with what I thought was going to be my happy ending. The one I thought that I was going to die next to that man. I'm talking about that man that said, I will never mishandle your heart because I know what you've been through. You know, some of the things, one of the worst things somebody can do is know what you've been through and put you through it again times 2. But that's what happened to me. You knew what I'd gone through. You knew what I'd been through. You knew I had no relationship with my father. You knew how much I despised the home that I grew up in for a very long time. You knew how much I hated everything about my father. Everything. And you put me back through it again. I had to go back and pray for that person. And say, God, not my will but yours. That's when God knew he could trust me with your heart. Is when I gave up my bitterness, the thing that made me feel like I had the authority to be angry. When he allowed me to give up my bitterness for his will, he knew he could trust me then. And he knew I wasn't coming from a place of vindictiveness. I wasn't coming from a place of brokenness. How is it that I can sit? Shreveport is this big. There's plenty of events that I attend because though they slay me, yet will I trust them, darling. I'm not going to hide when I know whose I am. And there's been many of times that I've had to be in the presence of these two people and sit there. I can smile. I can speak. I can embrace and feel nothing because I have relinquished the control of me wanting to be in control of unforgiveness. So now when I walk in a room, you worried. I'm not worried. I don't even care. It's not even a factor to me. But this is the difference. I forgave me And then I forgave you. And then I realized, oh, God did this on purpose. He set me up. Because see, now where I'm headed, this next stage that I'm walking into, God knew all my bags couldn't fly for free. And the way my budget is set up, I'm not paying for all them bags. God said, you don't need all of that stuff. For where I'm taking you, you don't need all that stuff. And so I didn't want any more. I was tired of saying there's so many women that are connected to my story. I'm tired of hearing that. I don't want you connected to my story. I want you connected to my victory. That's why I always say I'm the modern day Harriet Tubman. Harriet said this, and I'll never forget when I've been researching and studying her and her tenacity and her strength. She said, I've freed so many. But there were so many more I could have freed had they known that they were slaves. She still felt like even in all that she had done, that she still didn't do enough. Because there were still so many walking around pretending, some flat out just knowing, some not knowing at all that they were still slaves. And they were still operating in that brokenness that made them believe that they needed mister to make sure that they ate. They didn't need misters. God was their source. But what? They was going to hold on to the resource. Sometimes we make the resource our source. We get that mixed up. And so then it makes us hard to forgive. And God say, until you can pick up your cross of unforgiveness and carry it on, you can't go with me. That's why elevation requires separation. And there's a lot of people in a lot of seasons that can't go with you where you're headed. There's a lot of people that don't understand why you forgive the way you forgive, but they don't see the bigger picture. Leaders always have the vision for the bigger picture. Always. They understand that it ain't about me still being mad about who you moved on with. I'm not mad because they in bondage. They getting the lashes that I had. And they getting it worse than had to get it. They getting the crowns on their head like I had. And they crown got more thorns on it than I did. They walking around in shoes that are uncomfortable. Because not only were made to be uncomfortable, they too big that you can't even feel them. But here you go, walking like a horse, stumbling and trembling, trying to do it when God said, lay aside every weight that so easily beseech you. Take up my yoke. My yoke is easy and my burdens are light. But we don't understand that. And so we find ourselves getting so frustrated and so angry and so bogged down in unforgiveness and inability to move forward that God says, I can't use you like this. You stink too bad. I can't use you like this. And so I had to go into that place within me that said, I can't remain here because I am birthing purpose. I have lives connected to these people. Why do you think they call it Facebook Live? Live, right? Life is a singular word. Lives are a plural word, meaning there's multiple, meaning there's others. We do lives because we're reaching more. That's what God's saying. There's more to you. I can't work with you this way. I know what you went through, but see, you had to go through that because I needed you to be validated when you got amongst those who were going to still say, her worship ain't for real. Girl, you don't know. Baby, you don't know what I had to die to become the woman you see. And I do mean die. There are things about me I had to die to become. See, this next blessing that God is bringing me, I had to die to get it. He ain't just give it. He had to prove. I had to prove to God that I was trustworthy. I had to prove to God that he could trust me with his most prized possessions. I had to make sure that I didn't make none of this stuff about me. That's why I'm so humble. When people say to me like, Lauren, you are inspiration. Lauren, I watched your live. Lauren, I'm hearing what you're doing. Lauren, I'm so appreciative for you. I am humbled by that because I'm nobody. I'm nobody. But somebody that decided, that declared and decreed over her life that I was going to make my victory somebody else's victory. And this ain't just for women, it's for men too. There are a lot of men that have gone through pain. A lot of the men that we see walking around here doing things that are not in the will of God, all that means is that there's pain there and unforgiveness and bitterness. People react to what they're acting to. They're reacting to what they're acting to. What is actively going on inside of them, they react to it outside of them. And so all they find themselves doing is getting upset and being mad and being angry and being hurt and being offended. Because the enemy says if I can keep him offended, then he'll never see Jesus. Because he will always look at the glass half full. He'll never know that I set this up. I set it up so you could be lifted higher. See, I thought that betrayed on purpose was because you was trying to kill me. I thought that it was because you wanted me in pain. You wanted me hurt. You wanted me, you just didn't want God's will for my life. God said, no. I wanted all of my will for your life. That's why I set you up. I had to pull it back, so you could go forward. You think about a slingshot. That slingshot, you got to pull that thing back. But when you let it go, that thing can ricochet and go further than it would have ever gone by you throwing it with your arms. And it doesn't take that much energy. And that's how walking with God is. When you release to him, it really don't take that much energy. You really be at peace at all times. You really be at that peace that surpasses all understanding. You really be at it. And the enemy tries. He's always trying. He don't take a day off, ever. He wants you to remain with unforgiveness. But let me promise you this. The longer you spend in prison to unforgiveness, the longer it will take for you to see the manifestation that God has for you. So if you're sitting there wondering, God, I done fasted, I done prayed, I done talked to you, I get up with you, I do this. God said that's all good. Have you forgiven? When will your desire decrease so my desire can increase in you? When? When will you give me all of you? See, a woman that really loves, I'll tell you about women, because I ain't a man. I can't speak on man things. Sometimes I can, but on a love of a woman, let me tell you about a woman. When a woman loves you, she'll let you do all kinds of things. She'll sit there and wait on you, pretend with you, hide with you, pray for you. I mean, it's not much she won't do. When a woman loves, her love is so close to godly love, it's ridiculous. It's nearly ridiculous how close it almost mirrors, because it's patient and it's kind. Even when you ain't kind, it's kind. It can take more than what most men can take. That's why you always hear people say, a man can dish it out, but he can't take it. That's true. That's very true. All facts. No need for us to argue. But I tell you this much. When you continue to break down the core of a woman, two things can happen. Either her pain will become her fuel, or it'll be the thing that kills her. And that goes for most people. Pain does two things to them. It either fuels them to push them further in God, or it sends them back and they die right where they were found in the first place. And so you have to choose when you're walking with God. Am I going to believe the enemy? or am I going to believe God? Because everything that has hurt you, that you have gone through, that you thought was going to set you back, it was doing nothing more but setting you up, because your life is a ministry. Everything that you are, that God made you, man or female, is a ministry. The tougher the climb, the bigger the reward. And that means there's more to impact. See, my story is so many of these women's stories because I got a lot of people to impact. But I'm going back and I'm taking all of their stories and I'm making their stories my victories. And not mine, but truly God's victories. Because I don't want people to say no more, girl, I can understand that because, I've been through that too. I want you to say, girl, I can understand that, and I'm so glad I went through it because now I'm whole. I'm wholer than I've ever been. I'm better than I could have ever imagined. I'm living my life on purpose. God is pleased with who I've become. It's okay if people don't always understand who you're becoming. A lot of people don't even understand themselves, if truth be told. And so when you see people do things that are out of the ordinary, that are foolish, it's a clear indication that they are walking around with private pains and unforgiven matters that they refuse to let go of. And so it is our charge as believers to show them how to forgive on purpose. Show them that everybody is one step from looking crazy, right? You one step from being someone else's offense. One step, one decision. There's one thing that can come into your life, and next thing you know, you looking at somebody that you ain't got no business looking at. It's only one thing. The enemy, his plan is to deceive us, offend us, and then accuse us of the very thing he told us to go and do. Don't she look good? Oh, you talk to her, ain't nothing gonna happen. Your wife not gonna find out. Your husband ain't gonna find out. That's a little something. All you did was say good morning. All you did was say, hope you have a good day. All you did was take a little interest in their time. You trying to do something for God. That's what the enemy does. He sells us selfishness, just like he did Adam and Eve. He said, Eve, eat this. This is going to make you more powerful. He always gives us what feels good to us. He didn't say, hey, Eve, eat this so then that way we can ruin the way that God designed the earth in the first place. She wouldn't have ate that apple. He not going to say that. Hey, just text so-and-so. Take her out. Tell her she pretty. When you don't even tell your own wife she pretty. Been there, lived that. But tell these they pretty. It's okay. You just telling them anyway because they gonna tell you that you look handsome too. And then you gonna feel good about yourself. But then how many of us realize we get addicted to that? And then the enemy knows then, oh, I've got them. Because it ain't really about what you're doing. It's what you're becoming that he wants. And he doesn't want you to become anything great that God can use. So if he can keep you offended, that's what he's going to do. If he can keep you upset with folks, that's what he's going to do. And guess what? You'll never reach purpose because the blessing is sitting in their mouths. And he know you ain't going to go talk to them because you don't like them. So the same ones you don't like are the same ones you need to go talk to. Some of my best and closest friends were people that I was not friends with in the beginning. Most of them I didn't even like. And if we want to get truthful, I didn't even have a reason not to like them. But I had been hurt by women before. And like I told you, I had seen so many, failed marriages on both sides of my family. My mother's side and my father's side. There's not no whole bunch of godly, amazing marriages on both sides of my family, nor even the one that I was birthed out of. So I didn't see any of that. So it was easy for me to accept dysfunction because I hadn't seen nothing functional. Now I thought I was creating something functional, but God said, but you got out of order. You made that man your God. How many of y'all done did that one? You made that man your God. You turned me into your resource and made him your source. Where they do that at? Okay, keep that same energy when you get bogged down and now he can't do nothing for you. But he was your source, right? You wanted him to be so happy and pleased with you that you forgot about God and your relationship with him. So then God let all hell break loose. He let everything you touch not work. He let everything you thought you were going to be not come because he knew he was taking you higher. But you had to make a decision. See, sometimes our issue is we want to be forgiven, but carry unforgiveness for others. You can't do that. You can't walk around with unforgiveness amongst other people and want God to use you. No, you need a little more time to bake. Because that's just not how he works. When he uses you completely and totally. The book of James, which is one of my favorite books right now that I am in. James 1 says that you have to have unwavering faith. And James talks about how whenever our faith is wavering, we're like a sea tossed and driven. And I laugh with my mama. I call it the Peter Pack of faith. That Peter faith. You know, Peter the one denied Jesus 3 times. And so James talks to us about how we allow our faith to please God. And a lot of times we don't like to talk about the ugly stuff. And so, as I shared with you guys previously in previous weeks, I'm in a season where I am having to allow God to care for my heart and place my heart in the hands of connected to the hands of a person that makes me excited about my purpose in him. So we're talking about relationships, which we know that's a very scary topic for most women, especially women who have gone through what I've gone through, what you've gone through, you know, people not keeping their word, people not being who they portrayed on Facebook, people not being who they portrayed to your face. You know, and now you having to learn how to trust and love God's way. That's a very scary place. But when I tell you it is so rewarding, there's nothing like learning how to decode God. Nothing like it. And so in the book of James, he reminds us that it is crucial for us to be able to let go of the what ifs. What if this don't happen? And the backup plans. Because see, with God, there ain't no backup plan. He the backup and the plan, because he said your future was told. He knew your future in the beginning. He knew your end. So with him, it ain't no backup plans. See, with us, it's backup plans. And that's when we get side men and side chicks. It's backup plans. Well, if this don't work out, I'm going to just go to this person. But then you're not going to heal. So now you still the same broken person you were alone as you were in a relationship. It has not changed. And so that's what unforgiveness does. Forgiveness reminds us of God's grace for our lives. Forgiveness is the reminder that just as God has forgiven us, it's our duty to free someone else. So when you forgive other people, you're freeing them and you. That's the beauty of forgiveness. That's the beauty of being able to truly allow God to have its perfect work. And so in doing that, you can become everything God called you to be because you're not carrying dead weight. Unforgiveness is dead weight. That's it. It bogs you down. It doesn't build muscle. It has no nutrients. It's not going to push you further. It does nothing at all for you. Nothing, but keeps you in bondage, and it keeps you complaining about why this and why that. And God's like, if you just hush, listen. You needed the pain so you could get to the purpose, because the people that you're going back to get, you got to know exactly where they are and exactly what they're going through and exactly what they're feeling. And what better way to know than to experience it? He said, weapons will form, but they won't prosper, meaning it may come up, but it won't contain you. You won't be contained by it. It won't consume who you are. It won't change your identity. You're not mislabeled. You are labeled properly, on purpose. So I implore you this week, my sister wives and my brother husbands, go and forgive the one that you said, I'll never forgive. Go and forgive the one that you said, I'll never forgive. And let me end by saying this. Forgiveness does not mean take them back. Forgiveness just means that you unlock the gate that frees you and them. So I hope you've enjoyed this segment on forgiveness, the ultimate grace. Share it. I'm super excited about where God is taking us, and I love you. Happy Sunday. Bye.